Hi everyone. It's what is it? It's Wednesday, April 8th. And the times they are strange. You know, I only swore that I would do these videos twice a year, but this is going to be called the special COVID-19 edition. We all need a little boost. These are strange times, as I said. I have lots of questions. We're told to keep in touch. Are you keeping in touch? And as we ask in New Jersey, so how you doing? I'm doing okay myself. Still working and napping, walking the beagles. And boy, are we seeing a lot of emergency puppy visits. What's up with the puppies? Why am I seeing so many new puppies? I guess people are stuck at home. They want a walking companion, someone to talk to. And hey, dogs are a safe companion. As you can see, I'm back. Probably you can see I'm back in New Hampshire for a week. I don't know how legal it is to escape the state of New Jersey, but here we are for a good week. It's a pretty safe place. The nearest neighbor is a quarter mile, so I think we're pretty well quarantined. And hey, here's an interesting thing. We were in Vermont, Mendy and I, as we drove up here. About 5 minutes, we cut across a corner to get to New Hampshire. And coming and going at the border with Vermont, there were dump trucks. Now, I have no idea why Vermont puts dump trucks at the border, but I didn't know what to do, so I rolled down the window as we went across the state line and yelled, "Bernie!" and gave a thumbs up. I think I just scared Shiloh. The absurdity of it all. And boy, there is a lot to talk about with the absurdity of it all. What's up with wearing gloves? You wear the gloves, but then you touch your phone, your face, your everything. You touch me. Don't understand. Now you're supposed to wash your hands for 20 seconds and what? Sing happy birthday. Me, I've taken to singing Cornell's alma mater. Far above Cayuga's waters. It works out about the same. Now, if I think I actually was exposed to someone, I sing all 6 verses. The stock market, very weird. The day they announced the $1 trillion in the first legislative bill, the market went down 500 points. Tell me what that's all about. We have a store called Wawa. It's like 7-Eleven. Now they bring you your coffee. You can't touch any of the coffee machines or anything. Okay, so they bring you your coffee. But when you pay for it at the register, your change comes down a slot into a communal cup that everyone touches to take their change, which really raises some interesting ethical financial questions. You know, if it's 49 cents, do I leave it? Or like if it's 75 cents, is that enough to stick your hand in there? You know, maybe PBS has someone named Susie Orman. She does these financial things. I think she should probably do an episode on this, the Wawa change container. Travel. You know, when this all started, the first thing we did was we banned travelers from Europe. Okay. But then the U.S. citizens, they could just come rolling right through. So explain that one to me. The photo of this virus. Have you all seen the photo? I'm sure you have. It looks like a golf ball with red cloves. How do they know they're red? I mean, that's actually what's keeping me up at night. At my synagogue, you know, we all were sitting in pews on Friday night, yet they canceled the social event afterwards. They call it the Oneg Shabbat. So they canceled the social event, but we're still sitting next to each other. And General Motors, they're going to be, you know, there's some national emergency manufacturing act of some kind. They're going to be required to make ventilators. I can just see this. It's going to be a cross between a catalytic converter and some windshield wipers. Flattening the curve. Now, I know the curve can be big, can be small, but it's almost counterintuitive to say flatten the curve. It almost reminds me of a Yogi Berra phrase, which was, he was talking about his favorite restaurant, and he said, no one goes there anymore because it's too crowded. And then cat litter. Have you tried to buy cat litter on Chewy.com? There is none. No cat litter on Chewy.com. I've come to the conclusion it's the same kind of cat thing as we're doing with people with the toilet paper. It's the same notion, no more litter. And I just want you to know that the governor here in New Hampshire, he had executive order number 6, and it was a good one. It authorizes legal takeout and delivery of beer and wine. Number 6. And what's up with Skype? Skype. A lot of us, you turn on the news and all, and everything's Skype. The only problem is that 5-second delay. So it almost reminds me of the Godzilla movies that I grew up on when I was a kid, the actual original ones, where they moved their lips, and then 5 seconds later they said, the monster is still alive. It just didn't fit. All right, so I'm pretty much done with absurdity. Now, here's a game for everyone. I know you need something to fill your day. How many words can you make that rhyme with pandemic? And each time you come up with a new word, I want you to also give it a definition. So, like, I'll do a couple here. Hamdemic. You wake up one morning and there's a ham on every corner. How about lambdemic? This is good for, that green mint industry, or whoever makes all that green mint. Lambdemic. Lambs, they start falling from the sky. And of course you can have ramdemic, which kind of goes along with the lambdemic. So anyhow, when you respond to this, give me a couple of those. I think there's one for almost every letter of the alphabet. Observations. Can't let this go without some observations. Have you been seeing more septic trucks on the road? All of a sudden I'm seeing a ton. The truck that comes and empties your septic. I never saw so many before, but the more I thought about it, I think it has to do with all the toilet paper we're using. People are staying at home, using the toilet more. That must be the explanation. And then Zoom or Skype, the newscasters, they all have this bookshelf behind them with the family photos, the books, the flowers. I almost think they're passing around some roll down screen. They don't really have these things. They just pull this screen down. And then novel protein. If I hear this one more time, I think I'm gonna have to take some kind of medicine, because novel protein. I almost think this is a perfect example of when we say medicine is a combination of art and science. That's all I can think of. And then they came up with this finding that one of the first signs of the virus is you lose your sense of smell and taste. Well, that's definite proof that my beagles do not have the coronavirus. I'll tell you that right now. And then, when the unemployment surplus bill was going through Congress, there were a couple legislators that were nervous that, wow, if you make the unemployment too high, the benefit, we're going to lose our nurses and aides and all, because they'll just stay home. I thought about this for about 5 minutes, and if a nurse or an aide is going to get more money on unemployment than they would actually going to work, I think these folks are underpaid. That's my conclusion on that one. And then now they're talking about the cytokines, that cause the inflammation with this virus, and actually that's the worst part. And here you go. Maybe cortisone might be part of the treatment. When I was in school, at the end of every disease, there was this one sentence: if all else fails, give a shot of Pred. Okay, so it has come back to be, the truth. Okay, some more observations though. Tonight is actually the first night of Passover, and for the first time in a long time, I'm not celebrating it with my family, obviously. We talk about the plagues in Egypt during the Exodus. There were 10 of them, in case you weren't there. 10 plagues. What was the 10th plague? Shiloh. What was the 10th plague? It was the eldest in the Egyptian families, the eldest son died that night. And let me know that woke up Pharaoh in a big way. But think about the plague. The actual group of individuals that's most affected are old men. So firstborn, whatever. Maybe there's a connection here. Old men. I better watch myself. I also predict, this is a prediction, and you can let me know in 6 months if I totally struck out on this, but here's an additional definition of BC, before COVID. So I want this right now, everyone to know I'm the guy that thought this up. Now here's something that keeps me up at night. Is there a connection between COVID-19 and Chanel number 9? I think something to think about. Okay, now I spoke to a friend the other day, Mark Carlson. Some of you may know Mark, and we talked about everything. Very nice. He's doing well, staying busy. Hi, Mark. I asked him, when do you think this is going to end? I mean, can you give a time, a place, a date when this is going to end? And he had a great answer. And the answer was when the successful vaccine is released. And you know what? There's a lot of truth to that. As veterinarians, do any of you, were you old enough to remember the parvo virus? 1979, I was a couple years out of school. All these dogs were either dying or coming in dying. And it was this terrible virus. And we put up with this until, it didn't take too long, but until the Baker Institute at Cornell came up with the first canine parvo vaccine, and that's when things came to an end. We still see parvo in unvaccinated animals, but two very famous virologists, immunologists at Cornell, Carmichael and Appel, they should be applauded. But that's when this will end, when we have the vaccine. All right, I know you're getting bored and you have things to do, so let me wrap this up. I love stories from the Old Testament. In the book of Exodus, Moses asked God if he can see him, if he can view him. And he wants to see God's image. And God says, I'll pass by. If you hide behind that rock and shield yourself, I will pass by. But when he does, all that Moses can actually visualize is his backside. And this must mean something. I mean, you can think about this. You fill in the blank. You may not see God, but fill in the blank. I mean, in this week, we celebrate two very major holidays, Passover and Easter. Yet we will not see God. We will not go to church. We will not have Easter dinner. We will not have the Passover Seder. We will not hug each other, hold hands. So does that mean we do not see God? But really, especially in light of what's going on, think about the real significance of this holy occasion. What words come to mind? For me, it's compassion, freedom, understanding, belief, sacrifice, leadership, and courage. Aren't we, as we sit at our celebrations Aren't we surrounded by these thoughts and these actions? Yes, yeah, we are. We have our healthcare workers, you know, the front line, our teachers, our clergy, the cashiers at the stores that have to work. Hey, the veterinarians that are doing their job, the folks that order 100 lunches from a hospital in New York City from the local diner to keep them going, the kind neighbor who checks in on, you know, their elderly friends and people down the street. It's there. It is there. So, as we say at the Passover Seder, Dayenu, that would be enough. All right, I wish you all well. Hopefully this will make it till we meet again July 4th.